Hey everyone, in this video I want to show you how to use some key library databases online that we'll need to use for major essay project number 3 and the annotated bibliography component of that major essay project. So here I am at the Canvas homepage for our course, and you'll notice on the left hand side we have our local navigation bar. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way down to library. Click on library, and then it'll take you to this page. So what I want to click on specifically is research databases. Now the two databases that I want to highlight today, the first one, or the second one that'll show you is EBSCOhost, but before that is Opposing Viewpoints in Context. So these databases are arranged in alphabetical order, so I'm just going to scroll. Opposing Viewpoints in Context. So let's go ahead and click on that. Now once you click on the database, it's going to ask you for your login information. That's just the same stuff you would use for logging into MyCerritos, any of that sort of stuff. I already did that step, so it didn't prompt me to do that. So here we are, Gale in Context or Opposing Viewpoints. If you already have a specific topic in mind, you can go ahead and type it into the search field. That's one option for you. But what I'm going to recommend that you do, you might just take a look at some of the featured issues that they have sources on. So here, freedom of assembly, this is something that's particularly relevant right now. Women in politics, voting laws. I'm making this video on November 3rd, so that's why we have all this election stuff. But what I'm going to recommend that you do, instead of searching directly and then just looking at some of the featured ones, is going to this button here, Browse Issues. So let's click that. And what I come to, once you click on that, what we have is a whole list of different issues that Opposing Viewpoints has sources for. Now the great thing about this database, as the title suggests, they offer several perspectives on a given issue, whatever that issue is. And as you can see, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of issues, and they're arranged alphabetically. So if you're not really sure what you want to focus on in your essay at this point, this is a great place to start, because then you can just see, like, look at this list and to see if there are any issues that stand out to you. So I'm just going to click on one for the sake of example, online retail. I guess we're doing a lot of online shopping these days. So once you click on the issue, it'll take you to its specific page and it'll provide you with an overview article. So they give you just the first kind of snippet of it, and you can click more, read more, and it will take you to this overview. Now I want to emphasize that this is meant to be just kind of background information for the source. I do not want you to use this overview article as the source or as a source. Okay, so that's really important. I encourage you to read this because, like I said, it gives you background information so you can get a better understanding of what this issue is about, but do not use the overview article as your source. What then can you use for your source? So if you click back out to the page for that issue, if you scroll down a little bit, we see right here on this page, we have featured viewpoints, we have academic journals, images, magazines, viewpoints, videos, statistics, websites, audio, reference, infographics, news, related topics. So all of these are, if you scroll down, I'll actually list them out, are the different sources that you could potentially incorporate into your essay. Okay, so don't just go to the overview as a source. That shouldn't be a source. The stuff down here is what should be a source. So I'm just going to click on one just to show you some of the features here. So when you open up a source, I recommend that you read the first couple of paragraphs, kind of skim through it a little bit, see if it does indeed catch your interest or if you think it is a relevant source, potential source. So you want to make sure that you're not investing time into something that isn't going to be useful, but on the other hand, you also want to make sure that you are investing time to make sure that you're reading these sources carefully. So just set yourself up for success by making sure that it's a source that you want to use or you think will be important before you invest that time. So say you read it and you're like, wow, this is a great source. I really want to incorporate this into my essay. You can go ahead and up here at the top, we have this navigation bar. So we have a button that says Cite, so it'll generate a citation for you. I'll show you that in a second. You have Send To, so you can email the source to yourself. You can download, so you can just save it to your computer, or you could print it out. So if you're the type of person who likes to print your sources out so you can actually annotate them with a pen or a pencil, that's an option for you. But yeah, so let's click on Send To. So you have the option, you could send it to your Google Drive, you can send it to OneDrive, or you could email it to yourself. So in the email to yourself, you just click that, you type in your email address, and then here the subject line is the title of the source, and then you just press send and it'll send it to you. If you want to generate the citation, get rid of that there. It'll generate the citation according to MLA 8th edition, which is what we're using. Now, just a caveat for this, 9 times out of 10, there's something in this citation that is incorrect or just a little off. One thing that I can see immediately is they didn't capitalize the title of this the way it should be capitalized. That's one thing. So what you'll want to do is just make sure that you are verifying this. Okay, so whether you confirm that on some other citation site or Purdue's online writing lab, you want to make sure that it is indeed correct, but citation's there for you. Okay, so so that's a little bit about opposing viewpoints in context or Gale in context. Great starting place. I recommend going here first. But say you've looked at that, you found some good sources, and you're ready to look somewhere else to find some other sources. A good one to look at is EBSCOhost. So let's scroll back up to E. Wherever it may be. There we are. EBSCOhost. So just a little bit of context. EBSCOhost, as the title suggests, is a host for lots of different databases. So it collects all these different databases and it will search all of them when you search through their main search field. So I'm just going to click, you're going to have to click some of the databases you want to search. Academic Search Complete is a good one, a good general database. So I'm just going to click that for the sake of example. But if you scroll down, you can kind of look to see there's specific databases that focus on specific topics. So you can go ahead and cruise through there and see, but I'm just going to click Academic Search Complete and press Continue. Okay, so it'll take you to the general search, but I want to go to Advanced Search. And this is what it will look like. So when we go to Advanced, we have 3 search fields, and then there's a little bit more things you can click on here. I want to make sure that the sources that I find are the full text. So I'm going to click that. If you wanted to get scholarly peer-reviewed journal articles, that's something you could click. But I'm just going to cast a wide net for the sake of this example, so I'm not going to click on that. But something that you want to pay attention to is the publication date. Generally speaking, you want to try to find things that are as recent as possible, especially if it's a very current issue that you're researching. But within the last 5 years or so is a good date range. But for the topic, the example I'm going to use is very specific, very current. So I'm just going to search within the last, within 2020 and 2019. And the topic I want to look at, oh, there it is, is online education. The reason I have this in quotation marks if I didn't have quotation marks, what it would do is, and this is the same with any web browser like Google or things. If you don't put the quotation marks around it, it'll search for these two words but not together. So it'll find all the sources that have the word education in it, all the sources that have the word online in it, but not necessarily those two words together. So I want to make sure that I'm finding sources that talk about online education. That's very important. So let's go ahead and see what we can find. Okay, so this yielded 1,318 articles or sources, potential sources that all focus on online education. Now, I did make sure that my date range was very, very recent. So that's something that's good to help narrow my focus a little bit. But I want to see if I can maybe get it a little bit more specific. So what I'm really interested in is online education, but I also want to see if there are other ways of referring to it. So distance learning is another way of talking about online education. So I can see, okay, I want to see if that can get me a little bit more specific. So I'm going to search. And it did. So I cut out several hundred sources. Now I only have 91 results. But what I want to really look at, and it showed, kind of gave away the mystery there, is online education and COVID-19, how those two aspects influence one another. So let's see what I can find. So I have 197 articles now. So that's still a good amount to sift through, but as you can see, it's a lot smaller batch than some of those other searches. So I recommend looking for sources where you can click on the PDF full text, and the reason for that is when you click on the PDF full text versus the HTML full text, the PDF will preserve all the pictures and the formatting and the page numbers and all the stuff as it appeared in the original source, and most of the time these appeared in print before they were put into the database. So this is how it looks in print. So that's what I recommend that you do. Now you'll notice on the right hand side I have some of those same icons as opposing viewpoints. So I could send it to my Google Drive if I wanted, I could print it, or I could email it to myself. So a lot of different options there. So that I can make sure that I've preserved the source so that I'm not left trying to find it later if I didn't save it. So. And that's all I have to say about that, at least as this general for this general introduction. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'm happy to address those for you. Otherwise, have fun researching, everyone.